Alright, hello citizens of the Nigelverse. It's Nigel once again, and this is going to be another wrestling review. So, we've already gone through the WrestleMania, finally. It only took me about a month to do so, but now it's time for the Fallout, or more specifically, the Backlash. It's just time to review Backlash from a couple weeks ago, so thankfully, I'm not as late to that one, so yay! But, as always, I am not a professional wrestling reviewer or analyst or anything like that. Just a man who enjoys a good time, and I had a fantastic time with this show. Oh, this was the exact pick me up that I and a lot of people needed after WrestleMania 41. Learn more about that in my review of WrestleMania 41. If you haven't already, go check it out now. Oh, it should be out by the time this review goes up. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, if you've seen these reviews of mine before, you kind of know how this works. But if you haven't, I'm going to be talking about what I liked and disliked about each match. I'm going to go match by match. So, starting with the opening match at Fatal 4-Way for the United States Championship, as Jacob Fatu defends against LA Knight. Yeah, Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. So LA Knight had lost the championship to Jacob Fatu at WrestleMania. Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre have been feuding, and both storylines are kind of intersecting when it comes to this match. Match. Drew McIntyre has not won the United States Championship, so that was brought up as well, which I'm kind of surprised about. It's always surprised that and Sheamus winning the Intercontinental Championship, or not winning the Intercontinental Championship, I should say, it is always surprising to me. Like, all that time they were there, and they didn't think to pop it on them for one. You would think they would pop it on them, at least for like a week or two. Hell, it's not like it's not like they were doing anything else with it at the time. But nevertheless, all four are competing for the U.S. title here, and this match was a lot of fun. This is the match I knew that, oh yeah, Backlash was going to be way better than WrestleMania. This match was a lot of fun, had a lot of fun action, and Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre beating the crap out of each other. I do like how even in like the early stages, it kind of split off into the two storylines with Damian and Drew going after each other, and then Jacob and LA Knight going after each other as well. Damian Priest saying Drew's bored at work was pretty funny. What wasn't quite as funny is his when Damian delivered the South of Heaven and to Drew McIntyre and Drew got banged up there. But also Damian Priest was banged up as well. He hit his head, I believe, when Drew nailed the Claymore, or I believe this is when they were in the crowd. But ultimately, he hopefully he was okay. Triple H said he was okay. But he had, from what I was seeing, he also kind of said it like a dad who watched his son kind of fall. He's like, he's fine. But nevertheless, has some hard bumps, but it definitely was worth it for a fun match. Ultimately, Jacob Fatu picking up the win with some help not just from Sol Sokoa, but from the debuting Jeff Cobb. So they said Jeff Cobb might be at Backlash, and sure enough, he was showing up to be part of the Bloodline. Now, Jeff Cobb. He is not Samoan, and from what I know, he is not Tongan, from what I know, but he is Hawaiian, so I guess that counts. But Jeff Cobb making his presence known and helping Jacob Fatu, who beat or retain, I should say, the United States Championship. So hell of an introduction, and him being aligned with the Bloodline, I would say makes sense. And but Jacob essentially I could tell maybe they were going for him being upset that Solo's getting in his business because as he and Solo kind of been going back and forth, especially after Jacob won the U.S. title. Jacob essentially telling Solo like, "Hey, stay out of my business. Let me do things on my own." Not really wanting Solo to fight his battles for him or anything, but Jacob looking upset because he didn't know that Jeff Cobb would be there, or I think was kind of the vibe. But Jacob looked more confused as to why Jeff Cobb was there and more so who he was in a way, I guess. That was kind of the vibe I was getting. Maybe I'm terrible at reading faces, but also it's worth mentioning. And I'm predicting this, I guess. They haven't really outright said it, but I imagine this will probably be the case. Jacob essentially looking as a replacement in terms of the bloodline. And I guess as he moved closer towards that Jacob Fatu versus Solo match that we know is coming. But Jacob essentially looking as a replacement in Jeff Cobb, who was Jeff Cobb until they renamed him JC Mateo. So Jeff Cobb already, I think he showed up at Backlash. I think he was renamed by SmackDown, so they worked rather quickly. He to change his name, and now changing his name to JC Mateo. Oh uh Originally, if I'm not mistaken, it was supposed to be JC Matanza, or something like that, to kind of play off his name in Lucha Underground, which was Matanza Cueto. Oh, but they changed it to JC Mateo. Oh, I imagine either they didn't let him keep his name, or he decided not to and decided just to go with the WWE name. I guess it makes sense, just in him keeping the trademark on it. It it uh it just in case things don't really work out in WWE, but at the same time, I admit I'm not the biggest fan of it, but in terms of like WWE names that WWE come up with for the wrestlers, I suppose I've heard worse, but yeah. So he is officially JC Mateo. It's not. I'll give it this. It's not as dumb as some of the other ones, and I hate to compare WWE to AEW. It's not as dumb as just calling him Cope. I'm still not over that AEW, and I'm still not calling him Cope. But nevertheless, Jeff Cobb, JC Mateo. I'll probably interchange between the two, but I'll probably also mainly stick with Jeff Cobb. But Jeff Cobb showing up to help out, but otherwise, really fun match there. But next up for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship, Lyra Valkyria defends against Becky Lynch. So Becky was as well, so Becky he was as Lyra Valkyria's mystery partner after Bayley was attacked at WrestleMania. So they won the women's tag team titles. They lost it 24 hours later. So great, that was for nothing. But then afterwards, Becky turned on Lyra Valkyria, saying that she hasn't been shown the proper respect, wanting that proper respect, revealing she was the one who attacked Bayley. That's the second time this year Liv Morgan has been accused of an attack she didn't commit. Hashtag justice for Liv, who's shooting a movie. But which is weird that she's shooting a movie, but she's still holding on to her championship. But she is coming back. In fact, Raw was technically earlier tonight. Hey, and the reason I'm saying that is I'm recording this. It's at 11:45 at night, on Monday. So Raw was tonight. So I believe Liv Morgan should be back by now. And let me check WWE.com just in case. But Liv should be back. So I imagine the movie filming didn't take that long. But excuse me. But it's but is yeah. But yeah. So Liv Morgan is indeed back, and and but yeah, so Liv being I remember why I brought it up now. So Liv being accused again of an attack she didn't commit. First Jade Cargill, now Bayley. For shame. But nevertheless, it's now leading to this match here between the two for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Yep, which I forgot to mention this in my WrestleMania review, so I guess I'll mention it here. How did neither of the women's mid card titles make it to WrestleMania? Neither the Women's United States Championship or the Women's Intercontinental Championship. You could have squeezed them onto the card. I know both cards were pretty loaded, but you still probably could have found room for them on the show. But Nevertheless, we got the match here, I guess, and then we got the Women's United States Championship match of Saturday night's main event. So cool, I guess. But yeah, as for this match was pretty fun. Like seeing the action between the two and kind of uh seeing the story unfolding as Lyra seeks to overcome Becky and kind of having to deal with the fact that she's essentially fighting her mentor, her here going against her old mentor who has at this point turned on her. That storyline, how they unfolded that, was pretty interesting and pretty cool in that regard. Or kind of a interesting ending with Lyra essentially rolling up Becky to kind of get the surprise win over her, and then Becky essentially attacking Lyra afterwards. Or maybe this is just a theory on my part, maybe this is just my headcanon, I don't know. It feels like something else was supposed to happen that might have been last minute. Lyra did hit kind of injure her arm. I don't know if that was storyline or if that was legit, but I imagine it was probably storyline because Lyra is still like active on Raw and everything, and the feud between her and Becky is still going. Uh, 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 but you do get the sense that something else was supposed to happen, but I could be wrong. I don't know for sure. But yeah, yeah. So Lyra gets the win over Becky to retain. Which I did not expect. Heck, but I suppose getting a win over a big name like Becky Lynch does, I guess, help with the legitimacy and the lineage of the title. So it's good there. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so Lyra essentially retains there in a pretty fun, pretty solid match. But next up for the Intercontinental Championship, Dirty Dominic Mysterio defends against Penta. So Dominic won the championship back at WrestleMania, and from there things are continuing to kind of unravel a lot more dissension in between Dom and Finn, and especially with JD McDonough coming back and Finn not knowing that he was coming back. Uh, Heck, so Finn's kind of caught off guard there. Finn wanting to be more in control, while Dom having none of it. Finn trying to interfere on Dom's behalf and it kind of backfiring, which does end up happening in this match as well. But yeah, so things continuing to kind of progress between the two as it will eventually lead to the feud and the fight between the two. Whether at SummerSlam, whether after SummerSlam, we will find out. But yeah, as for this match, Dom and Penta definitely did their thing. Kind of kind of like an alternate version of the match at WrestleMania with two of the competitors, which I guess makes sense for Backlash because Backlash is kind of supposed to be the fallout from WrestleMania, so I guess it makes sense in that regard. Yeah, so, but yeah, yeah. But anyway, Dom does pick up the win, and thanks to not Finn Balor, who does almost cost him the match, but instead thanks to El Grande, a Americano who attacking Penta. So Dom does win and does retain the Intercontinental Championship, so he's still Intercontinental Champion. Pretty solid match. It is the shortest match of the night, but I think they did well in their time. But next up, Gunther, the former World Heavyweight Champion, battles Pat McAfee. That's right, Pat McAfee. So how did we get here? Well, the Raw after WrestleMania, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee were talking about, we're talking about Gunther's loss, how he tapped out to Jey Uso, how he's no longer world champion, and Gunther took some offense to it, choking out both Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. Excuse me, Pat more than Michael. Well, after Gunther started choking out Michael, and Pat came to Michael Cole's aid, and so Gunther attacked him as well. So it's now leading to this match, and kind of the story being told throughout is Gunther once again, similar to what he did to Jey Uso, similar to what he did to Sami Zayn in the previous year at WrestleMania 40, underestimating Pat McAfee and Pat seeking to make him pay. This match was pretty fun. It's kind of a underdog in a way match between the two, with Pat really he's standing up to Gunther and contesting against him. Michael Cole straight up said at the opening, which Wade Barrett took over for Pat McAfee on commentary as he's getting ready for his match. Michael Cole straight up admitting he's not gonna be unbiased in this match. He's gonna be biased selling in favor of Pat McAfee, which I mean, on one hand, and Michael, you're supposed to be professional as a commentator, but on the other hand, you did get choked out by Gunther, so I'll allow it. But but like, yeah. So, Pat trying his best to keep up with Gunther and contest against him. And Gunther shutting Pat down at almost every turn and really slaughtering Pat for the majority of this match. Michael does get involved at some point, and Gunther tries taking him out, but that does fire Pat back up. But ultimately, Pat is choked out by Gunther. But Gunther showing some respect to Pat for this one. Now, a lot of people had kind of pointed out how that they weren't the biggest fans of this, making it seem like Gunther seemed weak against Pat McAfee. But here's the thing: for starters, it kind of played into the story of the match that they were telling, that Gunther underestimating his opponents almost costing him, and it almost cost him again in this match. But ultimately, he does put away Pat McAfee. He so. Oh, it does play into that story. Whether you like that story or not, that's up to you. But it does play into that. But the other thing is, have you forgotten Pat McAfee is decent in the ring? He's definitely not quite a slouch. He was able to keep up with the likes of, say, Austin Theory or Adam Cole. Also, we have seen that before. It's not like Pat McAfee is a total fish out of water, or and her end would have been squashed rather quickly. And yeah, I think a lot of people will accidentally conflate or see Gunther's opponent as looking somewhat strong as well to Gunther looking weak, when that's not necessarily the case. Gunther looks strong, but so is his opponent. And if his opponent looked absolutely weak, then there'd be seemingly no point. And I think a lot of people will accidentally get that confused, which is unfortunate. But I think it does play into this match. But this match was still pretty fun. And now, last certainly not least, in the main event, and the hometown boy Randy Orton, because we are in St. Louis, seeks to take the WWE Championship away from John Cena. Heel John Cena versus face Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. It was definitely not in my 2025 bingo card at the start of the year, but nevertheless, here we are. So John Cena won the WWE Championship back at WrestleMania. Randy Orton attacked John Cena the Raw afterwards. So now they're gunning after each other. They brought up the history between both men, and the fact that this might be the last encounter ever between the two, as John Cena is getting set to retire, and has led into this match. This match was is this match, well, compared to the other encounters between Randy Orton and John Cena that we've seen over the years, because they've fought quite a bit over the years, this one I would say falls kind of somewhere in the middle. Well, not fantastic, but not absolutely horrible. And when it comes to the history of John Cena and Randy Orton, we've definitely seen plenty of both. But yeah, so but yeah, so everything kind of leading up into this match between the two who here, and kind of them spelling out their history, and this match kind of showing the greatest hits between the two, including an RKO from John Cena and an attitude adjustment from Randy Orton, which not even the first time they've done that. But towards the middle of the match, the referees are taken out, and then a bunch of security and Nick Aldis do come out. Randy takes them out as well. Randy's about to go for the punt on John Cena, but he's stopped by R-Truth of all people. R-Truth, who still has been an absolutely hilarious in denial of his childhood hero, John Cena, no longer being the same John Cena that he knew, who pleading with Randy, and he gets an RKO for his effort, which allows John to hit Randy with the title in order to pick up the win. So, was it John Cena's best match? No. Was it necessarily a good match? Yeah, it was all right for the most part. Is it better than the WrestleMania match? Absolutely. And all the shenanigans throughout, these are the shenanigans we wanted to see at WrestleMania. This was not a vanilla match at all. This match had all the shenanigans that we wanted to see. No Travis Scott this time, but This match had all the shenanigans that we wanted and needed at WrestleMania, but better late than never, I guess. But yeah, so John Cena has retained, and thus St. Louis has seen John Cena seemingly for the last time. Although that's been in question, a lot of people have speculated that John Cena won't actually retire or at the end of the year, like you said, that it's all a ruse. He's gonna pull Mark Henry. Whether or not that's the case, I'm not entirely sure, but I guess we will see. But nevertheless, that is going to do it for my review of Backlash here. So, way better WrestleMania. This was a breath of fresh air compared to WrestleMania. In terms of the strongest and weakest matches of the night, the strongest, I mean, there's a few contenders. There's not really a bad match on the card, but the strongest, I think I'll go with the opener. The opener was a lot of fun, just a lot of fun action between all four guys. I think all four guys really did their thing. In terms of the weakest, mm, 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 probably Gunther versus Pat McAfee compared to everything else, but that match was still pretty fun, so it's not like terrible match. And do keep in mind, just because it's the weakest doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just compared to everything else, it wasn't as strong. But nevertheless, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do me a favor: like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on those post notifications so you know every time I upload videos, so you never miss an upload. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Backlash and my review. Did you like Backlash? Did you like dislike my review of Backlash? Let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys later. Peace.